Sean Diddy may just be the wildest beast that the music industry has ever tried to chain down.
Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Whatever I want, I get!
But what's so terrifying about him that even Usher Raymond, the artist that Diddy handcrafted from the age of 13, still can't muster up the courage to call him out?
I don't have anything negative to say about Sean Combs because my experience was not what the world has seen.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, just out.
Because this absurd level of loyalty to a man sulking in a prison cell comes from an unspoken honor code among men that most of you will never understand. Subscribe to Elites Exposed for more, and watch how Usher tried to sanitize Sean Diddy in this latest interview with Forbes.
In many ways, I think certain people are prosecuted and maybe not recognized for the greatness that they offer. I don't have anything negative to say about Sean Combs because my experience was not what the world has seen and how he's been, misrepresented.
What'd you learn?
Puff was a mentor, but he was like a, you have that really, really hard teacher. You can't turn on the television and not see the influence of hip hop.
That's right.
But the people who actually made that appropriate and are the forefathers are people like Sean Combs. That's who I see that man as. And that's what I choose to remember. I put respect on his name because I realized that, what I learned as a businessman before I even understood what business was, came as a result of seeing the incredible things that he was able to do and the way that he positioned himself as a businessman.
And tell me if I'm reading too much into it, but why would Usher act so buttoned up and tight-lipped about Sean Diddy when almost everyone else in the industry is trying to remove the stain of his name from hip-hop culture after his legal downfall? And no, I'm not talking about Diddy as some kind of business genius or great hero of black empowerment that Usher's trying to paint him as. I'm watching back clips like this from him just a couple years ago on Howard Stern, when Usher Raymond basically said the quiet part out loud about the kind of world he was pushed into at the age of 13, when Sean Diddy took him under his wings for his initiation into the world of hip-hop.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
And you can imagine exactly what kind of world it must have been that he shudders at the thought of sending his own son into it. Because here's something I've spoken about before. The 90s were around the same time when the big music executives and industry bigwigs like L.A. Reid and Sean Diddy had realized that degeneracy and mindless hedonism sells records much faster than the kind of masculine anti-establishment genre that defined rap music. And like a lot of things, it was their greed of money that set off a downward spiral of rap culture, diluting it with cheap shock value, and the lust and hedonism that Diddy's own parties are notorious for.
Your parties are the hottest ticket around.
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my parties. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. It just makes me feel like I know how to throw a party.
That's the world where people like Sean Diddy realized how a young Usher could become a massive money spinner, and all they needed to do was to initiate him into that problematic world at an impressionable young age. And if you believe the allegations of Sean Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, the story gets very dark very quickly if you read between the lines of what he's trying to say here.
I know, and people know, that was around in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass?
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, just out. back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented.
And if any of that is remotely true, we're talking about a culture of initiation and humiliation that are reminiscent of the worst cults in history. Because while Usher himself will never admit to it directly, he has in fact hinted at the kind of dynamic that existed between himself and Sean Diddy back then.
And it was hard. There were a lot of things I seen and a lot of positions that I think I was put in where I had to make very, very tough decisions in my life about who I would be. I was 13 years old, and being 13, having that type of exposure, you know, yeah, it was cool to go to Howard Homecoming with Puff. It was great to be able to go to Club USA or the Supper Club, you know, with Puffy in that time, or the Tunnel. You know, most kids are trying to figure out, you know, how to be around, you know, hot girls, pretty girls. I'm around grown women, and I'm seeing them do things and have experiences that I'm not quite ready for. That's not what I was there for. I was there because I wanted a career, man. So we would fight, we would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, man, you gotta chill, like you're just a little bit too intense. You know, you gotta relax. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, like banging on this man as though, you know, I am the manager. I am the spokesperson for Usher. And I'm telling him, look, you're gonna put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there, you got Craig Mack in there. You're gonna make me a priority too. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs?
So I'm sure you're asking the same question as I am. Why is Usher Raymond so hell-bent on defending a man whose entire life has come undone with a public legal trial? What's there to hide, and why is he always so curiously vague about what went on in those parties? I mean, if I were him, the only thing I'd be worried about is making sure my name never again comes up in the same sentence as Sean Diddy. Well, if you understand how masculine dynamics work in a male power structure like the rap industry, I think you can start to piece together this ugly puzzle. Remember, Sean Combs in the 90s was far more than an artist. He was an egomaniac that happened to also be one of the most powerful gatekeepers in the hip-hop establishment, with the power to make or break careers.
Yeah, savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Whatever I want, I get! Whatever I want, I get!
Now imagine a young and innocent Usher Raymond desperate for his first foot in the door, only to find a character like Sean Diddy towering over him guarding the door. Because this is a pattern you'll see if you think a layer deeper. When a group of men order themselves on a power ladder, you'll see an interesting masculine dynamic emerge among them. You see this pattern in everything from organized crime units, greedy corporate boardrooms, corrupt oligarchies, or even in this case, the hip-hop establishment. An older, more powerful man takes a younger man under his wing, exposes him to the world, opens doors for him, and delegates power. And if you put yourself in that young man's shoes, you see how it creates a psychological debt that almost feels sacred. That young man starts from feeling gratitude, then loyalty, and then he turns it into his very identity. That's what I think happened with Usher Raymond. His entire origin story runs through Sean Diddy. So to fully condemn Diddy is to erase the foundation of who he became. And worst of all, it would mean signaling to those powerful people behind closed doors that he's not loyal and cannot be trusted. And in that world, loyalty is how you signal to the in-group that you're safe to do business with. Because for me, a lot of pieces came together when watching back how Usher described his relationship with Sean Diddy and his crew in New York City, admitting he never had a father figure growing up, and that the hip-hop world became his first and only initiation going from a boy to a man.
They took me under their wing, you know what I'm saying, and looked at me like the little bruh. One, I didn't have a big brother, and my dad wasn't there in my life as a kid, so all these experiences just readied me for life.
And if innocence was part of the hidden cost of career success, then it sounds less like mentorship and a lot like a deal with the devil. Except for some reason, Usher still hasn't come out of the devil's spell. But if there's one person that still terrifies Sean Combs like no one else, that has to be 50 Cent. So watch here how his bombshell Netflix documentary ripped Sean Diddy's career to shreds, and subscribe to Elites Exposed for more.